Okay, guys, I am going to give you a little history about the Trinitarios. This is from the Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of New York. This was released Friday, July 25th, 2014. Okay? Says national leader of Trinitarios Gang sentenced in Manhattan federal court to 19 years in prison. So this is the national leader. This is like the main person. Okay? Pret Bahara, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, announced that Leonidas Sierra, a.k.a. Junito, the former national leader of the Trinitarios, a violent street and prison gang compromising primarily individual of Dominican descent, was sentenced yesterday in Manhattan federal court to 19 years in prison for his role as a leader of a massive multi-year racketeering conspiracy. Sierra is currently serving 221 times 2 years to life in prison in New York State as a result of his 1989 conviction of intentional murder. Now, this is going all the way back to 1989 murder. Conviction of intentional murder. Sierra's federal sentence will run consecutively to the New York State term of imprisonment. Manhattan U.S. Attorney Pret Bahara said when Sierra created the Trinitarios Gang on Rikers Island in 1992, a dangerous and bloodthirsty organization was born, responsible for overwhelming violence both on the streets of New York and other cities and inside the prison system. With Sierra's conviction, the Trinitarios Gang lost its founder and leader. Sierra's conviction and sentence are capstones to this office's 5-year effort to dismantle the Trinitarios. So now listen to, they were trying to dismantle the Trinitarios since then. That's like, I can't even tell you how insane. And like, did we know about this? No. The sentence imposed ensures that Sierra will not see the light of day for many years to come. It should also serve to remind members and leaders of other violent gangs that will continue to work to bring them to justice. In imposing sentence, the United States District Judge Paul A. Elgenmayer told the defendant, instead of putting up a stop sign, you gave the Trinitarios a green light to commit violence by your actions. Your actions sent the message to these gang members that retribution, violence, and hits are okay. Judge told Sierra that he had no right to decide who lived or who died, and that his actions were wrong, destructive to society and to the Dominican community. According to the indictment and other documents filed in the case, as well as statements made during the sentence proceedings, Sierra with 2 others created the Trinitarios Gang on Rikers Island in 1992 in order to protect prison inmates of Dominican descent from other competing violent gang members. The Trinitarios quickly morphed into a violent organization, both in the prison system and on the streets, as its members began to be released from prison and continue their membership. Sierra managed and led the Trinitarios while he was an inmate at various New York State prisons, including at the time of his arrest, in this case, Attica Correctional Facility. Sierra ordered numerous acts of violence referred to as green lights in the gang parlance against other inmates in the New York State prison system, and in connection with his guilty plea in the case, also admitted that in 2011 he conspired to murder another member of the Trinitarios Gang who was at liberty in the community. Sierra targeted the victim because the victim refused to acknowledge Sierra as the gang's supreme leader. Sierra and his co-conspirators were arrested in this case before their plan could come to fruition. In his capacity as a gang leader, Sierra also ordered the establishment of the Central Committee, which was responsible for conveying Sierra's orders and messages to the gang's top leadership on the street, among other things. During the time Sierra served as a gang national leader, Trinitarios members operating in the Bronx and Manhattan were responsible for numerous homicides and non-fatal shootings, targeting both other members of the Trinitarios and members of rival gangs. Specifically, this office has charged members and associates of the Bronx Trinitarios Gang who committed 9 homicides between 2005 and 2010. The members and gang associates of the Manhattan Trinitarios were with committing 1 homicide in 2006. Since 2009, as part of Operation Paria and Operation Green Haze, the office has charged at least 147 members and associates of the Trinitarios Gang. Not that that mattered, as you can see. Mr. Bahara praised the work of the New York City Police Department, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Explosives, the New York Drug Enforcement Administration, and the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Service. This case is being handled by the Offices of Violent Crime Unit, Assistant U.S. Attorney, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So basically, he was sentenced to 19 years in prison, starting in 2014. So, as you can see, people, didn't really make much of a difference, because even with him in jail, there's plenty more doing work, and they're still, you know, a pretty powerful source. So it doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned. But I